Hey guys, it's Alyssa from AlyssaMilani.com. Welcome back to my channel. As you saw from the title of the video, today I am introducing season 4 of Club 119. Now, at the time of this recording, I am right smack dab in the middle of Christmas and New Year's. And let me tell you, I had such grand plans of having this video done and having all the stuff done before Christmas. So you guys had like a bunch of time to get ready if you needed a bunch of time to get ready. But then Christmas happened and it was just really super stinking busy. And now we're like in the home stretch before January 1st and this video needed to be done. So here I am in the middle of a busy afternoon. When I wear a ball cap, that most likely means that I have not done my hair, and I'm in the clothes that I ran errands in earlier today. So it's real life right now. But I'm so excited to share with you what we're going to be doing for season 4, for the first season of 2020 for Club 119. And I hope that if you do choose to join us for this season, that it is a great blessing and that you benefit from it, that it is profitable for you, and that it's something that you're going to enjoy, because I'm really excited about it. All right, so before I get into the video, let me just tell you what I'm going to go over. First, I'm going to explain briefly just a bit of my heart behind the project and why I decided to go with this one. Then I'm going to talk about the project that we're going to do. And then I'm going to go over some resources and some of the other things that kind of go along with this. So you have some options to choose from and some supplies to gather, if you will. And then I think that's it. I've got notes in front of me, and I think that was the end of my list. All right, so first off, why did I choose the project that I'm about to tell you about? Well, Club 119, if you did not know, started as just my desire to create a community of women around scripture writing. And since that time, it's been since summer of 2019, since that time, I've really just grown this passion. I think that the Lord has really been deepening this desire for me personally to grow in biblical literacy and to share whatever I learn with my community here on the channel and on my blog. And so I've adapted, that's not the right word. I have adopted, maybe that's the right word. I have adopted a real heart for wanting to pursue Bible literacy. And what that means is I want to have good, solid foundational knowledge of the Bible rather than the spot knowledge that I have kind of developed over time. I grew up in the church and I know a lot of different things about the Bible. I know a lot of stories. I know a lot of theology and beliefs that I hold to. But when it comes to like knowing a full story in its context or a full idea in its context, I'm telling you, when you read just a verse by verse by verse, I've had times where I've read a verse and gone, oh, that's where that's found? I had no idea, but I knew that one verse. I just didn't know kind of what happened around it. And so I think that if we are really pursuing a relationship with God and a knowledge of the scriptures, that we should be very intentional and systematic about it as much as we can. And so that's something that I want to kind of weave into the culture of Club 119, not just the activity of scripture writing, as important as I think that is, but also pursuing an intentional and systematic reading and consideration of the scriptures, if you will. So that is one of the reasons why I went with the project that that I'm going to be presenting. The other thing that I realized as I was praying about and thinking about what to do in January is the fact that Club 119 consists of a lot of different kinds of women. Some of you guys have been in the Word for years, even longer than I have. And then some of you have just come to know Jesus, or are just getting into the church, or are just coming to the Bible for the first time. And this is where you've landed by God's grace. And I'm really, really excited about that. And then there's every other part of the spectrum in between. And so realizing that we have so much variety in this group, I wanted to pick something that was going to be challenging no matter kind of where you land in that spectrum, but also pick something that was going to offer some foundational, that was going to be foundational. Okay. And so all that to say that I really want to kind of share my heart and my passion for scripture, but I also want to be cognizant of the people that are in this group or that might join this group, and just work on things that will be of benefit to as many of us as possible. Okay, so without further ado, now that I've explained all of that, without further ado, let me just go ahead and tell you what we're going to be working on starting in January. Are you ready for this? So starting in January, Club 119 is going to be reading through the first 5 books of the Bible. All right, so the first 5 books of the Bible are collectively known as either the Torah or the Pentateuch, and it consists of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And I've been a little nervous because I have no idea how you guys are going to feel about this. But the reason why I decided to go with the first 5 is because, number one, I've never read through all first 5. And I think that the first 5 books of the Bible are so foundational to understanding the rest of the story, even into the New Testament, actually almost especially into the New Testament, because the New Testament writers were writing to an audience who would have known what went on in the earlier books of the Old Testament and would have known the beginning history that is found in the Torah. And so I thought, one, this is going to be a great challenge for myself to get through some of these books. Some of them are going to be a bit difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It is going to be a challenge. And then some of it is going to fill in some of the gaps of my knowledge of the early history of humanity and the Israelite nation. And, I do know that when people first come into the faith, that it is encouraged to kind of start out maybe in the Gospels and get to know Jesus in the Gospels. And there is nothing wrong with that. That is totally a good place to start. However, I do want to also put out there that in order to fully understand some of what was going on in the Gospels, any of them, a knowledge of things like the sacrificial system or some of the laws, some of the context that they would have been functioning in, we get that knowledge from these books. And so I'm just going to challenge us to get some of that foundation under our belts. And if you've ever kind of looked at any of those 5 and thought, I will never be able to get through any of them, or I'm a little nervous to get through some, or maybe you know the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors, and you know the story of Noah and the flood and some of these other popular ones, but you don't quite know some of what happened when the Israelites were in the wilderness, or what happened to Moses when he struck the rock instead of speaking to it, and in all of those things, then this might be a really, really good challenge for you as well. So, first 5 books, I'm calling it the First 5 Books Challenge. And you will find a printable sheet on my blog. This is free. You don't have to buy anything this time around. And it will have all of the assigned chapters for the weeks that we'll be doing this. This challenge is going to run from January the 6th, which is a Monday, through May the 23rd, I believe, which is a Saturday. So it would have been the end of the week. And that's 20 weeks in total, okay? If we can get through 20 weeks of the first 5 books, I will consider that a huge victory, at least for myself. I don't do well with long-term reading plans. I'm just gonna put that out there. I have tried multiple times to read the Bible in a year and just not accomplished it ever. I think that is a great goal. I think that is something that everybody should do at least once. And I know that there are people who do it multiple times, and I think that's great. I just have not developed the discipline that is required to do that. And in an effort to cultivate that discipline, we're going to start small here. Okay, so first 5 books, Genesis through Deuteronomy. And when you print this off, you'll see this is in like this rose color, but it's also in black and a dark blue color. Super simple printout in full size and in half size. And you can just tick off the weeks as you go through. I don't do this in a daily format. That's the other thing. I cannot do a daily reading plan for my life because, y'all, if you skip a day, it throws you off and it's a mess. So I do it in a weekly format so that you can take the assignment for the week and figure out which days you're going to do it. So the first week, you're going to read through Genesis chapters 1 through 10. 10 chapters in a week. That's less than that's less than 2 chapters a day if you do it in 7 days, or however you want to do it, and then so on and so forth. Most of the assignments are going to be between, I think, 9, maybe 8, but definitely 9 and 10 chapters in a week. That's pretty doable. Now, I do understand that some chapters are going to be longer than others. Some chapters are going to be a bit more difficult than others. So just pace yourself, kind of look through and see, okay, this is going to be a bit more heavy reading that maybe I'm not familiar with, and I need to take a little bit more time, so on and so forth. So super easy plan. This is available on my blog. The link is in the description box. Okay, so that's the project itself. Now I'm going to get into a couple of resources that you might want to use while we're doing this. Now, I do also understand that you joined Club 119 potentially to do scripture writing, and I do not want to leave that out. I don't have it printed out right now, but you will also find available on my blog when the challenge starts a plan for some scripture writing through the reading plan. So I've taken passages out from the different books, from each of the 5 books, and pulled out passages that you can work on as scripture writing, as the scripture writing activity for the season. I'm not going to tell you to write out all 5 books because that's a lot of text. So I will have some passages pulled if you want to write through some of what we are reading through. Okay. Now, if you don't particularly feel the need to do that, there are a couple of other options. I talked about these in my video where I showed you what I'm going to be using for spiritual growth resources, and these are Write the Word journals. Okay, they are from Cultivate, which is Laura Casey's company that makes power sheets, and she has these lovely journals. She has several of them that you can pick up and use for scripture writing, and you can do it daily, every however many days, weekly, however you want to do it. I have the Garden one, and the tagline is Nourish Your Soul, and I have the Prayer one, which is probably what I'm going to start my year out with, and the tagline is Grow Connection. And so you can find these on her website. I'll have a link down below if you want to check them out. You don't have to use these. You don't have to use these. This is just something that I will be using for my scripture writing next season. The other thing that I'm going to try to have available on the Facebook group is some curated scripture writing plans from Pinterest. So I'm just going to go through Pinterest and pick out a few if you kind of need a jump start. But if you use Pinterest, or even if you just get on Google and type in January scripture writing plans for different topics, if you would like, there are so many out there that you can utilize. We don't necessarily have to be on the same scripture writing plan for Club 119, but what I will encourage us to do is to go through the same reading plan if you so choose to. So I'm not going to have a whole lot of study questions necessarily for this season, but I will be posting questions that are relevant to the first 5 books. But I'll also, if you decide you don't want to do the first 5 books, that's totally fine. But I will be keeping the interaction on the page going, on the Facebook page going, with other spiritual growth related topics. So if you so choose to do the Club 119 reading plan for season 4, if you so choose to do the scripture writing passages for Club 119 season 4, or if you choose to do a Write the Word scripture writing journal, or you choose any of the plethora of scripture writing plans from the internet, whatever combination of those things you decide to do, you'll still be a part of what's going on. And I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can please feel free to reach out to me in the comments. So that covers the scripture writing, the Bible reading. Let me go into a couple of more resources here. So for the Bible reading, if you if you don't have any reference whatsoever for the Old Testament, then you might want to check out some other resources to kind of help get you through the readings and give you some overall context. One company or one publisher that has some really great resources on the Bible is Rose Publishing. And I have their book of Bible charts, maps, and timelines. They have several books, and I'll try to link all the ones that I find from Amazon down in the description so you can check them out. If you've never used any of their resources, they're phenomenal. They've got full color pictures. Let me see if I can do this. Full color pictures, all different kinds of charts and lists and history and timelines. This doesn't just go through the Old Testament. This goes through the entire Bible. So you're going to have some New Testament stuff in here too. They have different books that have, let's see, Bible charts. Let's see. There's a thing in the back. So this is, I believe, volume 1. Then they have volumes 2 and 3 that go through other topics. They also have the Rose Guide to the Tabernacle, which would be super informative because we're going to go through how the tabernacle was built, when the Israelites came out of Egypt. They have a Bible map atlas. Let's see. They have Bible maps then and now. So I think I had one of these when I was a kid, but it has like the Bible, and then it has like overlays, I believe, if I'm thinking of this correctly. It has clear plastic overlays of what the map looks like today based on what it looked like back in ancient times. So they've got a lot of really great reference books that you might consider. And like I said, I'll link them down below. Another good book to kind of have on hand is something like this. This is called the Essential Bible Companion. And it has insights for each book of the Bible. So as you're reading through Genesis, for instance, it'll kind of give you some background information about the purpose of the book, some of the key verses, a map of kind of the region that we're going to be in, people to know, and then a timeline of what is going on. And then it also has a list of key terms. So this is something like this would be good as well. And I'll have that linked, as well as any other resources that I may not own, but that I would recommend considering adding to your resource library as we're going through these books. Now, as far as Bible versions, in the last season, I used the New King James and ESV. Since this is more of a Bible reading plan than necessarily a Bible study plan, I decided to go with the ESV for this one. I got a brand new ESV Illuminated Scripture Bible. ESV Illuminated Bible. Didn't say that right. I was thinking of Scripture Journal. Anyway, an ESV Illuminated Bible for Christmas. I don't have it on me because I accidentally left it at my parents' house, so I have to go pick it up. But that's what I'm going to be using as my Bible kind of for reading through 2020. But you can, of course, use whatever version you want. I do want to say that do consider your version. I have not talked about this in a video yet at length because I'm still kind of wrapping my head around how I want to talk about it. But the thing that you want to look out for if you're new to Bible translations is whether or not you're reading a word-for-word translation, a thought-for-thought translation, or a paraphrase. A word-for-word is also called formal equivalent, meaning that the translators did their best to translate it word for word. So, whatever the word is in the original, find the exact equivalent in English, so on and so forth. A thought-for-thought translation or a dynamic equivalent translation is going to give you more of sticking to the idea that was being expressed in the original text. Sometimes we lose things in translations. And if you know more than one language, you know this for a fact. You can't necessarily translate something perfectly word for word because it won't make sense. So a thought-for-thought translation is going to give you more of a sense of what the writer meant when they said such and such. A paraphrase is going to be way more loose, and it's not going to come from a committee effort. Okay, so word for word, thought for thought, a group of people put those together. A group of people, bounced this off each other and checked and balanced this thing, this work. A paraphrase usually comes from one person. And so it can be considered more like commentary rather than actual scriptural text. Okay, so just when you're choosing, kind of know what you're choosing and what your intentions are in choosing. The ESV, which is what I'm going to be using, falls under the category of a word for word. And so that's what I'm going with, along with the King James and the New King James. Those are also word for word translations. I'm going to do a video that kind of explains that more in depth and more better than what I just did. I've been meaning to do that. Again, I've really been kind of doing heavy research on that as best as I can so that I can rightly explain what my thoughts and research, what my thoughts are based on the research that I have done. Okay. Now, as far as what you might consider, because I'm using ESV, I have picked up a scripture journal for Genesis. So y'all know I used one for James. This is the Genesis one. It has the text on one side and it has the lined pages on the opposite side. So you can take notes. You don't even need a journal. If you're just going to take notes through this, you don't even need a journal. And that's the really great thing about these scripture journals. They also have the illuminated version of the scripture journals. So this is also Genesis. It has the text on one side, and instead of lines on this side, it has dot grid. And it's very fine dot grid because the purpose of the illuminated scripture journal is more, it gears more to the person who wants to do more art in their scripture journal rather than note-taking. Rather than note-taking. So these are options if you just want to carry the one book you're in. So if we're in Genesis, you just have to carry Genesis with you. And then, so on and so forth. So I'll link these below as well if you're interested in considering looking at these. Okay, so we talked about some of the companion books, talked about scripture journals, we talked about, scripture journals, scripture writing journals. Okay, a couple more things here, guys. Now, as far as note-taking, for season 1, I did more creative scripture writing. For season 2, I talked more about the study aspect of some of the things to consider in James. For season 3, I did no videos because it's been the Christmas season and I've been booked up on everything else happening in life. This upcoming season, for season 4, I'm going to be doing more study notes videos. One of the reasons why I've kind of been sitting on this and not sharing this with you earlier is because I'm still trying to wrap my head around how I want to share this with you. For those of you who may have been following my channel for a while, you know that I did a video on this book, which was my updated Bible study bullet journal. And this is the book that I was using to study the book of Proverbs in. Now, since starting Club 119, I have kind of put this to the side and I have not used it. But for season 4, for the first 5 books challenge, I'm going to be using a growth book notebook. Okay. And I've done a flip through of this book and shown you the ins and outs of it. And so you'll have that video down below if you want to check it out. I've also talked about it in that spiritual growth Bible study stack. I forgot what I called the video, but that's down below as well if you want to check it out. And it is a dot grid bullet journal, and it just has some extra features in it that kind of enhance the note-taking process. So in my Bible that I'll be using to read through the 5 books, I'll be highlighting, and I'll be using either the color coding system that I showed in the video from earlier this year, that's linked below if you want it as well, or some version of that. What you can do is decide, this is a project, first 5 books of the Bible. I'm going to use these colors for the first 5 books of the Bible. Or you can say, these are the colors that I use, or these are the pens or whatever, this is the system that I use for wherever I am in the Bible, and just use that system. So there are different things that you can do. So I'm going to be taking notes and recording them in this journal, and then I'm going to be, and then I'm going to be highlighting, most likely, in my actual Bible, or highlighting my notes. We'll see. And I'm going to be sharing that with you guys as soon as I figure this out. I'll be setting something up and showing it to you on my desk as soon as I figure it out. So there's that. Lastly, let me talk about the Club 119 planner. So I will be doing a setup video of this later this week. And I'm going to be using the calendar pages. Okay, so this got a month on 2 pages, right? And this extra box, so Sunday starts here and then Saturday's here. There's an extra box here, and that's where I'm going to put this information. Okay, so you can pop this in your planner if you're using the Club 119 planner. If you're not, it's no big deal. And this, you know, like week 1, week 2 information here for each book. So week 1 would go, where's January 6th? Yeah, so week 1's information would go right here in this box. So I would write week 1 right here, Genesis chapters 1 through 10. Week 2, Genesis chapters 11 through 20. Week 3, Genesis chapters 21 through 30. Week 4. So when I open my planner, I know what I'm supposed to be working on, and I can plot what I want to work on what days. So that's how I'm going to be using this month on 2 pages. And if you have any month on 2 page spread, you can do similar things. So real simple printout, and then you can translate that into whatever planner or notebook system you're using. And then on the weekly pages, which I'm opening up to here now, I can, if I want, I can write down what I've read. I can write down anything I want to about what I've read. If I did quiet time, what I did during that quiet time, if I, read part of a passage and then did, write the word entry. You can keep track of all of that in here. So, like I said, I will be setting this up for you all and showing you kind of how I'm going to be using it. This, if you did not know, is available in half size and full size. You just print out the sheets and put it in some kind of binding system, whether it's a 3-ring notebook or a happy planner or something like this. This is the Martha Stewart customizable notebook. Yeah. I think that's it, you guys. Yes. I'm looking at all my surroundings to see if I missed anything. Okay, at the time of this recording, the email that you get from me for Club 119 has not been updated yet still. It takes some time, and I just have not sat down and done it at the time of this recording. Hopefully it will be done soon. It will be done before the season starts. Okay, so sometime this week, before the season starts, I will be updating that email. If you join Club 119 via email to get the link for the Facebook group and just to get on my email list, if you join anytime sometime this week and it's not updated, just know that once you join the Facebook group, you'll get all the information, the updated information for the season. Y'all, I'm just being real. Bear with me. Go through the flow with me because, yeah, I'm still working on this. So I think this is it. I have shown you all the things. If you have any questions, let me know. The main information you need to know is that this plan is available on my blog. Okay? It's a free download. I'm not going to be doing like questions that you have to follow each week. This is going to be totally different from James. I may or may not do weekly videos on my study notes. That's the plan, but I don't want to make promises that I can't for certain keep. So I'm just going to be honest with y'all on that. But I will be posting regularly and having discussions in the Facebook group. That is something that I do plan to do quite religiously. So look forward to that. I think that's it, guys. You guys are so incredibly awesome. I treat this with great care, but at the same time, I want you to feel like we're just chatting. This is how I talk to my friends. It's not perfect. It is not polished, but this is the real me. And I just want to share with you guys. And I want you to have a real experience, something that you can grow with. I'm growing in this process. I'm learning in this process. And I'm just inviting you to learn and grow with me. So, like I said, any questions, let me know. This video is getting to be really long. I'm going to end it now. I will link all the resources that I have and that I found in the description. I'll be posting in the Facebook group soon. And yes, that is it. I hope you guys have a fantastic New Year's. I will have videos up throughout this week because I got to get caught up on all the planner stuff and the setup stuff. So look forward to hearing from me later on this week. And have a great New Year's. I will see you on January 6th at the start of season 4 of Club 119. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being a part of this. I hope that it is a blessing to you. I will talk to you all later. Thanks for watching this video and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.